Everybody wants to know what's the best editing video editing software out there. What's the best one? Which one am I using? Is that one better than this one and all that? I'm gonna give you a little insight on some of that. It definitely answers some of those questions for you for sure. But really, when it comes down to all these different editing platforms, there's like so many of them. I'm going to give you some of the ones that I've used, and they're pretty much the mainstream editing platforms out there. And but to each his own. They're all basically the same, but there will be differences in terms of certain features, where things are located and all that. But they all pretty much do the same fundamental, you know, aspect of video editing in terms of cutting video, moving things around, adding music, adding text, and all that stuff. They all pretty much do all the general stuff. Some may have some additional, features, like some have more AI features than others and all that stuff as well. But when it comes to a lot of these platforms, they're always updating, they're always evolving. So let me kind of show you what I mean here. So when I first started editing, I started with a platform actually called iMovie. When I first got my first Mac back in, what was that, 2008? 2008, 09, somewhere around there. And I started using iMovie. Prior to getting my first Mac, I used, I guess the very first, they don't make this anymore, but just a little history lesson here. The very first one that I used was called Windows Movie Maker. Of course, I had a Windows machine, Windows laptop, laptop. And I used that. And then that didn't give me enough features on some of the things that I was doing. Mostly, I don't know if you heard me back then, I was doing some different things for my job at T-Mobile back in the day. But because I was in the training department, and we were always doing different things and making training videos and all that stuff. But anyway, I wasn't in the videos or nothing like that. So I was really just creating content, for our training department. So it was all self-taught, just kind of playing around with these weird platforms here. And I started with Windows Movie Maker. Then I moved to, what was that thing called? Windows Movie Maker. I can't even think of the name of it. It still exists out there, but I can't even remember the name. So it tells you how much I've been using it over the past 15 years. It's been a long time. So, but anyway, I eventually went to Mac because people kept saying, some of my buddies that did some different things said, bro, you need a Mac. Not saying that you don't, this is back then, but I started with iMovie. It came with your iMac, your MacBook Pro machine, and it worked just fine. I mean, it did everything I needed it to do at that time, and it still works today. So if you have a Mac, I'm going to cover some things for Windows as well. So, so hold your horses. So don't go anywhere. But this is a great platform. It's actually pretty affordable. I think it's like $50. I think it might even be free. I can't even remember, but I know it used to. Actually, it might even be free. Download fry. Let me click on it. I'm just curious. I think you can actually just get it. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is actually free, I believe. Let me see. Available on the App Store. I'm just curious now. I'm curious. I just set this up. I just said, hey, I'll make a video about it. Someone asked, and I was like, okay, I'll make a video. Let me type in iMovie here on the, I'm just curious now. Update. Well, I've got an update. But I remember before it was like $50. It still may be that, but it could also be free. I'm not for sure. I just got an update here. So, oh well, it's going to update. I'll pause it and I'll come back to it later. But anyway, check that out. It's really, really affordable. If not free, I can't even remember. Matter of fact, let me Google that. Is iMovie, or I'll just say, what's the cost? What's the cost of iMovie? iMovie is free to use. Okay. And the reason why I was like, I'm not for sure, because at one point it was free. Then they did a big update. This is some years ago. Then they start charging for it. and I guess now it's free again. So great. So if you have a MacBook Pro or an iMac computer, just a Mac computer in general, Apple computer, you can download that. And overall, it was great. It did exactly what I needed it to do. Had a lot of features, and obviously it's way more powerful than what it was when I was using it. So it's definitely a great asset on your computer for sure. But eventually I upgraded to Final Cut Pro, which was the more robust editing platform. Just gives you more features. So a lot of things that were limited on iMovie, it opened up on Final Cut Pro. I know they've got a free, you can try it out for free. I think the trial's like, I know it's at least 30 days. It could be, 90 days. Try Final Cut free for 90 days. Wow. Man, you guys are lucky, man. I mean, we had a 30-day trial back then. Just so you know, back in, I want to say 2011 or 2012, they did a major overhaul of Final Cut Pro. It's been around for a long time. People have edited movies and all that kind of stuff on this platform. And it's the main one that I use today. It's the main one. I've kind of dabbled in some of the other ones, but it's still the main one that I've always used. So I'm used to it, and it does exactly what I need it to do. So if it's not broke, why fix it? So it definitely works. But back in the day, Final Cut Pro used to be like $1,200. Like it was like crazy. And then it went down to, I think right now it's like $299 or something like that or whatever, $250, $299. But they give it to you free. You can just download it free for 3 months on your computer, on your Mac, your iMac, your MacBook Pro or your iMac desktop computer. You can download it for free for 90 days. And then you can choose if you want to pay for it or not at that point. And pretty cool. I knew it was still 30 days at least, but you know what? I think I did see something in a training I did a few months back, and it did say 90 days. So pretty cool. And again, Final Cut Pro is my go-to platform. It's what I've been using forever. All the videos that you see me make that I actually edit on, I'm using Final Cut Pro. It does everything I need it to do. It's a lot of great features. I can get done whatever I need to get done in my video editing process. I get it done with Final Cut Pro. So this is my go-to platform when I'm editing my videos. Doesn't mean it's the best. It's just what I'm using, and to each his own. And you'll see what I mean here. Some people like Final Cut. Well, there's a lot of people that like Final Cut. I think, I'll share a little bit of that a little bit later, but you'll know what I mean here in terms of just like, which platforms that people use the most. So Final Cut Pro is very popular. It's a mainstream platform. A lot of people use it. The next one is CapCut. So if you are new, if you are a beginner, this is a good place to start. If you're new, you're a beginner, and you're on a Mac, you can use either one, iMovie or Final Cut Pro as well. CapCut is definitely one. Let me put it up here. I didn't have it up. CapCut is definitely one of the ones that's really, really popular, mainly because it's free. That's one. They got a paid version. I think it's like 80. It's like $10 a month, or you can pay for a whole year. It's like 80 or 89 bucks or something like that for a whole year. Just opens up more features. You get better graphics, better transitions, better effects and stuff like that. So they're going to give you still a lot of features and a lot of things that you can do just on the free version. And of course, it's great for mobile. You can do it. You can edit videos on your phone. You can edit videos on your tablet, on your computer, on your laptop. Even on Final Cut Pro, on the last one, you can edit on your computers and your iPad. Okay. I know with iMovie, I meant to say this earlier. So even with iMovie, it can go either computer, phone, or tablet. Final Cut Pro really right now is for your computers and your tablet. And then of course, you've got CapCut that covers all of it. Your phone, your tablet, your computer, your laptop, Windows, or Mac. Okay. So CapCut is for everyone. Okay. Which is one reason why it's so popular. But you know what? For a free editing platform, CapCut has come a long way. It is a real robust software. It's going to give you a lot of features, a lot of capabilities, a lot of things you can do on it. So if all you've got is CapCut, you're fine, because there's a lot of great things that you can do with the platform. Some of the different courses that I've done in the past, I normally will use CapCut as the leading platform for that course, because everybody doesn't have a a Mac or an Apple computer, but everybody has a phone, either a tablet or a Mac or Windows computer. Makes sense? So CapCut covers all that. So it doesn't matter what you have, we got something for you. So if you got, oh, Steve, all I got is Windows, CapCut can do that. All I got is my phone, it can rock that. Android, app, Apple app for your iPhone, they cover all the different devices. So that's very convenient, which is one reason why I think it's a great place to start if you're going to be doing some editing of your videos, which you should, right? CapCut is a great place to start. Why? Because it's free. It's not going to cost you anything. And if you want more features, more transitions, more effects, more cool things that you can do with your creations, then you can always upgrade. It's like $9 a month, or you can do, pay like a whole year. It's like $89 or something like that, like 80, $90 or whatever for the whole year, and you're straight. Okay. So pretty cool. Right. So that's pretty much a little bit about CapCut. Very, very popular, and a lot of people are doing big things with it. And some of you, I'm sure, are editing a lot of your videos using CapCut. Okay. And so moving on, then there is, for my editors out there, maybe you've been editing for a while, you've been using CapCut, you've been using iMovie, maybe some lower tiered editing platforms, which are still great. Okay. And even CapCut, maybe you've been using some of these other different lower tiered editing platforms, and you want more control and more advanced features, just way more stuff. A lot of people use Adobe Premiere. I guess you could say I've used Adobe Premiere off and on over the years. I think it's great. It has a lot of great features. And there's a lot of capabilities, and I know they're doing a lot of cool things with AI as well. And Adobe Premiere is probably the leading editing platform for editors, for professional editors, people that are editing television, movies, stuff like that. Final Cut is in that ballpark as well, but probably more people are using Adobe Premiere that are at that level. Okay. In my opinion, if you're brand new to the game, this probably isn't for you. I know the cost for Adobe Premiere, let me see. What's the individual cost? I don't even know what the individual, because I actually have access to it. Here we go here. Let's see, $37 a month. I have what's called Creative Cloud. Adobe has an option where you can actually pay a certain amount of money and you can get a certain number of some of their different apps and things that they offer. Like here's Creative Cloud, all apps, $89.99 a month. I think we have a plan that's like $59. It doesn't include all this stuff, but it includes Photoshop and all that. Basically what Adobe does, they make a lot of different types of software. Of course, we all are familiar with Photoshop. Well, Adobe is the creator of Photoshop. It's also the creator of Adobe Premiere Pro and a whole lot of other stuff, right? So they have all these different types of, creative apps, and you can bundle them all up into one package. You can pay one price per month and have access to all these cool tools, or you can just pay monthly for each individual one and all that stuff. So, they got some cool things. You could check it out, to each his own. And I know my wife uses Photoshop a lot. I've used some of these different apps off and on for different creative things that I'm doing online. But for the most part, Adobe Premiere, of course, Photoshop, a little bit of Illustrator that I've used and everything. But Lightroom, I've done some photo stuff with Lightroom. But you'll see some of the stuff when you actually go there, if you're even interested in even using Adobe Premiere. And again, as you can tell, a little bit more advanced. Okay. So I wouldn't recommend if you're just getting started and you're like, hey, I need a good platform that I can, just do some basic editing, get in, get out, done, upload my video, go on to the next, project. Adobe's probably not the one that you're looking for. If you've been editing and you've kind of, I want to try some new things and get some more capabilities, some more features, some different things, try either Final Cut Pro or, of course, Adobe Premiere. Try it out. Could be something that you may like. A lot of people use it. As a matter of fact, Adobe Premiere is probably the premier video editing application or software for most professional video editors. Okay, so if you're like in that phase where you're wanting to get more features and do some different things and all that, could be a perfect platform for you to check out. Some of you watching this video may be using Adobe Premiere right now. So it's a little bit about Adobe Premiere. Let's move on. And then there's another one called Davinci Resolve, which has been coming up a lot over the years, over the past several years for sure. And I know they've been around for a while actually, but a lot of people, it's another professional platform. They've got a free version as well, and then they've got a paid version you can see here. And again, you can Google all this stuff. I'll be sure to link all these softwares below in the YouTube description right below. But again, I haven't really downloaded or even edited on Davinci Resolve. I think I may try it out. I know they've got some pretty cool AI stuff that they're doing as well. Just to kind of see how, some different features to every platform always has the basics. You can cut your video, you can add your music, you can add an effect, you can do all the basic stuff. All of them do the basics, right? But some of them will have different elements that can allow you to do different things. Some of them will have different elements that allows you to automate certain things that you're trying to do. So it just really all depends on what you're looking to do. But you know what, when it comes to even me over the years, even though I've tried and kind of played around with different softwares, I always you never know, you might like some. So Davinci Resolve is one that I'm actually going to download and kind of just play around with or whatever. And probably not going to do a project. I'm not going to record a video that I'm trying to upload and, okay, let me just use Davinci Resolve for the very first time and try to, no, probably not. I would just drag some, random raw video clip I've got and just kind of play around just to see what kind of features and see what I may find. And then of course, if you go to YouTube and type in, top features in Davinci Resolve, top features in Adobe Premiere, top features in Final Cut Pro, or tips and tricks, Final Cut Pro tips and tricks in Davinci Resolve. You see what I'm saying? So every platform will have a gazillion videos on YouTube. Okay. So if you want a little bit more education or how to do certain things, it's all on YouTube. And even when I first started editing video using especially like iMovie or even Final Cut Pro, I learned a lot of things because, of course, when you're brand new, you don't know where all the different features are at and what this does and what that does. You don't really know until you search for it. So I knew what I wanted to do. So then I searched for it. Like, oh, okay, that's where it's at. Okay, and then you would go wherever you need to go to finish, editing your video. So YouTube was definitely my mentor in learning a lot of these platforms. Just all self-taught. Everything's on the internet. So whatever you're trying to do, I'm telling you, somebody's already made a video on how to do whatever that feature that you're trying to do or whatever you're trying to complete. Somebody's already made a video about it. Like, how do I cut my video? How do I add music in my, how do I add music to my video using Davinci Resolve, using Adobe Premiere, using, Final Cut Pro or CapCut or whatever? Everything's on YouTube. Okay. So don't get overwhelmed. Don't get caught up in the O word. Don't get caught up in the O word. Just search for it. Right. But first, be a practitioner. I know Gary Vee talks about that a lot. Just be a practitioner of the platform. So just get in there, just kind of play around with it. That's typically what I'll do. I'll drag a random video file into the timeline, and then I'll just start okay, what does this do? Okay, that's pretty cool. Or no, I don't like this. Because you might play around with one of those applications and be like, I really don't like this. I like the other one better. I don't really like this. I like Final Cut better. Or I don't like this. I like Adobe better. Make sense? So you just that's all it is. And you just gotta have the patience to do it. And I know a lot of times the problem is a lot of people don't have the patience. But again, remember, if you're just getting started, you don't need to be doing a whole bunch of fancy stuff anyway. Okay. All you really need, if anything, is the ability to, when you shoot your video with your phone or whatever, and you drag it into whatever CapCut or whatever you're using, all you're probably just trying to do is cut a little bit from the front and a little bit from, the end of the video, and then render it. That's all you're really trying to do. You're not really trying to do a whole lot of stuff right now. But if you are curious and you're like, what, I think I could make this a little bit better or whatever. I mean, hey, knock yourself out. The more you know about the platform that you're using, the better you're going to be in terms of creating your videos. Because it'll uncover things that may make that whole process of you editing your video much easier. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, just get in, download whichever one that you need to use. And again, some of you may say, well, which one is better? They're all great. It just all depends on what you're trying to do. And because, when I tell people, well, the one that I mainly use is Final Cut Pro. Why? Well, one, I got a Mac. So I don't have any Windows computers, right? So I have a Mac. So Final Cut works on my Mac, and it's what I've been using since, oh my God, let me think. I started using Final Cut Pro 2009 or 10. Either 09 or either 2009 or 2010. I want to say 09. So that's been my main platform since then. And I've seen the evolution and all the updates and all that as well. So I've grown with that also. But it works perfectly for what I needed to do. I know, because some people say, well, bro, you need to use Davinci Resolve or you need to use Adobe Premiere because you could do this. Hey, again, it's not a comparison game. Okay. If that works, keep rocking it, right? I'm not telling people, hey, you got to use Final Cut Pro, because I know some people like certain things. It all depends on your workflow. Okay. What Final Cut Pro, since I know it, I've been using it for so long, it's perfect for my workflow. I don't have to open it up and try to figure anything out. Pretty much. For what I'm doing and the way that I make a lot of my content, it's pretty much there. And if I need to do something different or whatever, because there's still a lot of features and things that I have not done using the platform, I can figure it out on YouTube. Make sense? So that's pretty much my take on it. But again, to each his own. I just always tell people, hey, get in there, play around with the different platforms, and you'll see which one works best for you. So those are the ones that I'll be rocking or have rocked at some point. And except for Davinci Resolve, I haven't edited anything using that platform, but I am going to play around with it because I hear a lot of people talking about it as well, amongst other platforms too. And there are so many other ones out there too, guys, that I didn't even mention. But these are just the ones that I'm aware of in regards of ones that I've really used a lot. Of course, iMovie, Final Cut Pro, obviously, definitely CapCut. I've definitely edited some things using CapCut. I've done a lot of training around CapCut. And one thing I do like about CapCut is very similar to Final Cut Pro in terms of how things are kind of laid out, some of the functions and different things, some of the shortcuts. A lot of it's very similar to Final Cut Pro. So I'm sure their programmers kind of modeled Final Cut Pro in that process, which is kind of interesting. And then, of course, the Adobe Premiere, which, of course, I've done, I've kind of played around with over the years, off and on. So there was a time where I was just using Adobe Premiere for about a couple months just to kind of see how it was. It was cool, but I still kind of liked my process and my flow with Final Cut Pro. So I actually went back to Final Cut Pro. And then, of course, Davinci Resolve. Again, haven't played around with this yet, but I know a lot of people like using it. And as well, it's definitely another popular one amongst others that you can definitely use. So, but again, it's going to be totally up to you, whichever one that you want to, rock. And the only way you'll know is actually downloading it and actually start editing, and you go from there. So, but they're all great and they can all get you started. All of them can get you started. Because remember, keep it simple. You ain't got to be fancy right now. For those that are kind of fancy, kind of experts or whatever, I'm kind of preaching to the choir. You already know what to do. But for those that are brand new or still just trying to figure some things out, those are some options you can kind of play around with. But just keep it simple, whichever platform that you're rocking. And then, of course, then you can challenge yourself, try to learn some different things. And don't forget, YouTube will be your best friend. It'll definitely be your best friend. All those platforms I mentioned all have a lot of videos on YouTube. So with that said, guys, thanks for watching this video. Do me a favor, like this video. Comment below if you have any questions about any of those platforms. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. And so you get notified when I upload some new content. But with that said, guys, thanks for watching. And hey, we'll see you on the next video. Peace out.